Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to our 335th weekly webcast. Now, if this is the first time you're joining us, our call, welcome. If you joined us before, welcome back. Now, the way this call works is this is an AMA, meaning ask me anything like you see on Reddit. You can ask me business questions, career questions, personal questions, investing questions, personal growth questions, any questions you want to. My humble goal is to help you take your career, your portfolio, your net worth, your happiness to the next level. Without further ado, let's begin and thank you. All right, first up, I've got Ray who wrote, "Hey, Chris, thanks again. You're most welcome. Thanks for being here. So why did Warren Buffett put his money in bonds and not in the S&P 500? Yeah, so the S&P 500 is at an all-time high. Valuations are frothy, and so the Sage of Omaha, which is Warren Buffett's nickname, is just getting a little bit of dry powder ready for some sort of a pullback in order to invest his money. He's very, very long-term focused, though. It's interesting because Warren Buffett, whenever he buys a stock, like when he bought Coca-Cola back around 1990, which he still owns today, he always tells himself that he assumes the market's going to be closed for 10 years. So he's a long-term shareholder. So the fact that he has a material percent of his portfolio, Berkshire Hathaway, in bonds now, indicates that in the near and longer term, he thinks the markets are ridiculously overvalued. That's what I think, yeah. In terms of would I invest in Berkshire Hathaway? Probably not. And the reason is I never invest in companies when the founder or founders are no longer running the company. He's running it now, but as we all know, he's stepping down within a few months or so. And the same thing goes with tech companies. I never invest in technology companies when the founders are no longer there. And the reason why is because they don't take risks, right? So if you invest, say, in NVIDIA, Jensen Huang, the brilliant founder, is still the CEO. He's still running the show, of course. He'll take risks. And he's long-term focused. But if Jensen were to resign and a founder was not running that company, they probably wouldn't take risks. Why? Because the CEO is basically a slave to shareholders. And if that CEO would miss a couple of quarters, they could lose their job. They're very short-term focused. So the bottom line is when founders leave, so should investors. Yeah, and there's almost no exceptions to that. All right, next question is, do you look at price to book, price earnings, price cash flow for ETFs? No, not really. For me, ETFs are a bit more of a placeholder, longer term investments. Like for example, for me, when I'm not sure where to put my capital, I usually put it in ticker VOO, right? And that's the S&P 500 ETF that Vanguard runs. And the reason why I love VOO as opposed to other S&P 500 ETFs is because the fees are very low. The fees there are 0.03. And what that means is this. For every $100 you invest in ticker VOO, you only pay 3 pennies every year in fees, as opposed to mutual funds, which are a scam and a ripoff. Don't touch them. Because a lot of mutual funds have fees that are well over 300 basis points, meaning 300 pennies per $100 you invest each year. Plus you pay more taxes on mutual funds. I can explain why if you want me to. Now, why am I in the S&P 500 with my capital? So if I can't find an investment, I just throw it into ticker VOO because in the long run, I humbly believe that the S&P 500 will be up between 15 and 20% per year on average over the next couple decades. Yes, there's going to be massive down years. Do I care which year? No. I don't care about the path. I care about the destination. Why do I believe that the S&P will be up that much on average over the next couple of decades? Well, one of the main reasons is because of artificial intelligence. And I'm seeing this with a lot of companies now. So this is an income statement here. Net income is the bottom line. A lot of companies are cutting these 3 line items here using AI, replacing a lot of people with AI, or making their employees much more productive, right? So you don't need as big of an R&D workforce going forward with AI because you can use AI to work smarter and not harder. Same thing with indirect sales. Direct sales people are safe, but when it comes to AI, indirect sales can be done through AI. Also, if you're building a services-based product, and if you're using robotics for physical products longer term, the cost of goods sold is going to be a lot lower as well. Now, I'm exaggerating with this prop here, But what that all means is if those red line items, meaning expense items, go down a lot, your net income goes up a lot. What does that mean for the S&P? Well, if you look at the S&P 500, the average price earnings ratio historically is about 15 times. Okay, so price divided by earnings per share. Well, we know that our earnings per share went up a lot with that example I just showed you. Therefore, the PE goes down for the S&P 500. Now, historically, the S&P 500 has earnings growth of about 15%. I think that's going to materially accelerate over the next couple of decades because of AI, which is why I believe the S&P 500 is a great long-term investment. Now, I know Warren Buffett sold a bunch of his positions because he thinks the S&P 500 is expensive. I don't really care. I'm long-term focused. And I bet my life on the fact that in the long run, the S&P 500 will be up 15 to 20% per year on average. So what does that mean for us? Well, of course, do your research first. But what I always recommend doing is have as much money taken out of your paycheck every 2 weeks if you can, and put directly into your retirement savings program so it can grow tax-free. So what that means is I have as much money taken out every 2 weeks to do that, and I think everybody else should as well. You can choose the S&P 500, but do your research first, please. And I see it more as a placeholder if I can't find investments. Yeah. Okay, next question is, I've taken the forensic course. Thank you, my forensic financial statement analysis using AI course. Appreciate it. And I loved it. Thank you. Which other courses do I need for really good valuation skills? Full program is very expensive to me. Yeah. So what you can do if you want is we just released a brand new product, and all the people that have been with me over the past decade, the early adopters, got access to it at a discounted price. The discounted price is over now, but it's called Circle. Okay. And we just launched it. So it's our own community. And within this community, I have tons and tons of courses exclusively available on my platform only, like the real estate course and all these courses up here. This program here is about 600 hours. This is, I think, close to 200 hours. This is the program I recommend that you take right here on my website. And there's endless number of courses here as well. The great thing about this is that there's a sense of community as well. You can, and we just launched it as well. You can network with other students from all over the world. There's gamification. You can also use artificial intelligence to ask me questions as well if you want to find out where in my curriculum I talk about which topics. So if you're interested in learning more about this product, what you can do, and this is where we went to Napa Valley, all of my premium customers a couple weeks ago. It was a lot of fun. If you're interested in learning more about this, what you can do is go to the description of this video and just click the link to set up a call with somebody in my team. Or what you can do is you can email support@harounventures.com. Now, the great thing about this program, I'll move on to questions in a second. The great thing about this product here is there's actually an Android app, and there's also an iOS app as well. So you can communicate and network with other students from all over the world using this product. Your network is your net worth, and relationships are more important than product knowledge. And what you can also do is you can get access to me. I do a lot of Zoom meetings over that platform. Again, just send an email to support@harounventures.com if you're interested in learning more. Thanks. Yeah, and it's affordable too. It's not priced high. Yeah. All right. Next question I've got here is, I'm learning and never starting to evaluate companies. How do I make myself start? Yeah. So if you procrastinate a lot, there's a really good book I want you to read. I'm serious. Everybody get a pen. This will change your life. Okay. The book is called How to Stop Procrastinating. And I never finished it, but it's a good book. I'm just kidding. That was terrible. That was awful dad humor. I apologize. There is no book called that. But what I recommend doing if you procrastinate a lot is every single day before you go to bed, and this is for my premium students, what I want you to do is to create a schedule for tomorrow. Okay? And as Tony Robbins said, if you want to get something done, give it to a busy person. Then what you're going to do is, before you schedule the next day, what you're going to do is you're going to score yourself. Okay? You're going to take off, say, 10% for not exercising, 10% for not getting 7 hours sleep a night, 30% for not praying. That's just who I am. You guys do what you want to do. although I love you all and God loves you guys so much, etc. And so you got to schedule this stuff and set aggressive goals for yourself as well. Okay, so whenever you write down a goal at the top of this page or whatever scheduling system you use, in brackets, always write down the deadline date. And the reason why that's important is because Tony Robbins, who's the reason I do what I do, many years ago, I introduced him to one of my portfolio companies in venture capital, and he convinced me to quit Wall Street and start teaching. But Tony Robbins said that 90% of people give up on their New Year's resolutions by the third week of January. And the reason is because they don't set a deadline date. So set a deadline date, please, always. And vocalize your goals too. Tell all your friends about your goals and your deadline dates, and that will put pressure on you, and I say it with love in my heart, to get it done. And Elon Musk once said that if you have, I don't know, if you set a deadline date of or goal of 3 years, you'll get it done in 3 years. But if you set a deadline date of 3 months, you'll get it done in 3 months. Yeah. So anyway, that's how I deal with procrastination. Now, in terms of you doing your financial models on any companies, what I want you to do right now, Ray, is I want you to set a deadline date for when you're going to finish my 100-step investment research product. Okay. And I think you have access to this. So set a deadline date, share it with everybody here, and a ticker, which company you're going to analyze. And when you do investment research, you look at qualitative research, quantitative research, and financial research. And for any company you want to do research on, you're going to answer 700 questions over 100 steps here. And then once you do that, you get an executive summary, one-pager, that you can print out. This is dummy data. And you also get a very detailed research report based on what I've learned, working at Goldman and all these other firms over the years at my own firm. A detailed report and a massive dashboard. And you can even bring this stuff here to your interviews, and it'll help you get that job. Okay. But set that deadline date, please. All right, let me switch to a different background. Let me know if you guys like these backgrounds here, or if it's overkill, or if I should just go back to blue screen in the background. Thanks. All right, next question I've got here is, what is your opinion on actively managed ETFs? I'm not a big fan unless the performance is off the charts. The reason I'm not a fan of actively managed ETFs or mutual funds, which are for the most part actively managed, is because they employ very expensive employees. People with degrees from Harvard Business School, HBS, 2/3 HBS is BS. And quite often they underperform other benchmarks, and the fee structure is much higher for anything actively managed. So I don't like investing in actively managed funds. I like picking my own stocks. And if I invest in ETFs, it'll be something through Vanguard that's not actively managed, like ticker VOO, which is the S&P 500. And Warren Buffett once said, you want to spend what is left after saving instead of saving what is left after spending. So again, I want money taken out of your paycheck, if you can do it, everybody, every 2 weeks, and put directly into your retirement savings program so it can grow tax-free. Yeah. All right, next question I've got here is, how do you monitor your stop loss prices on 20 stocks? Yeah, and I like you mentioned 20 because with a portfolio, what I usually do is this. I don't have more than 5% of capital in any one particular stock. And that's just good risk management. That means if you're going to have a portfolio of stocks only, you have at least 20 positions. And within that portfolio, I want you to make sure that no more than 20% of the portfolio is in any one particular sector, be it technology stocks, retail stocks, healthcare, industrials, etc. Now, in terms of stop losses, what I do is when I assess a company, I always look at the risk reward. Okay, the reward is the upside to my target price many years from now. And the risk, the downside, is usually to a technical support level. It could be the 50-day moving average, 200-day moving average, etc. And so I always make sure that the reward obviously is much higher than the risk. And then I'll get flagged through an email alert whenever a stop loss is hit, which isn't that often. Yeah. Okay. But I only invest in stocks that I see a 5x5. What does that mean? Well, that means a 500% return in 5 years. Am I often right? No, I'm mostly wrong. But if I do the research and it's only up a couple 100%, I'm pretty happy. Now, in order to do that, you have to look at small and mid-cap stocks as well. You can't look at the mega caps. Yeah. All right, next question from Alexandra. Hey, wrote, what are your views on silver futures? Yeah. So silver is quite different from gold. We all know gold is at an all-time high. Silver is a little bit more tied to economic cycles. So if you believe that global GDP is going to pull back, right? Remember, everything is cyclical. Then silver prices will probably go down. So I don't invest in silver futures per se. I have purchased Silver Wheaton, SLW, as well as SLV, the ETF for silver as well. But when it comes to futures, I don't get involved. I think futures should only be for professional companies that want to hedge their exposure. For example, Southwest Airlines, ticker LUV. Back in 2003, when oil was like $30 a barrel, they looked at their income statement and they realized, oh my God, of course oil is our biggest expense. So what they did was they hedged in the price of oil for like 10 years in the future at $30 a barrel. Then what happened was the summer of 2008, most people forget this, oil was $150 a barrel. And they were able to cut prices then, which is predatory, and force, ticker DAL, CAL, and AA into bankruptcy. So futures should be for companies trying to hedge their bets. Yeah, I wouldn't play on it as a retail investor. And the reason why I don't recommend doing that is because we have no idea what's going to happen to the economy. And there's a famous quote that I'm going to butcher, which is something along the lines of, economists have successfully predicted 7 of the past 56 recessions. We don't know. And a recession is defined as 2 consecutive quarters of GDP decline year over year, GDP being revenue for a country. Yeah, we just don't know. Yeah. And anybody tells you they know is full of it. Yeah. All right. Next question is, can institutions dump silver and gold heavily? Absolutely. If somebody owns ticker SLV or ticker GLD, which is the ETF for gold, of course they can dump it heavily if they want to. Yeah. However, stock price manipulation is against the law, right? So if they're doing it in an effort to force down the price because they have some crazy exotic option structure instrument on they're going to profit from, that's against the law. And for everybody that invested in GameStop, just understand, I love the Reddit crowd. Just understand that longer term, if people get together online and they force a certain stock to go up or down, that's against the law. And the SEC has not gone after the retail investor really yet. But I think that's coming next if manipulation occurs again, like it did in January of 2021 when the ticker GME went up 29.4 times. Yeah. All right. All right. Vinny wrote, I like the backgrounds. Okay, I'll keep the backgrounds. Thanks. And I try to also get it. I use blue screen, not green screen. And the reason is because I have green eyes. My grandmother is part Irish. Anybody from Ireland, if they're in movies, they have to wear contacts. Yeah. All right. All right. Next question is, from your experience, what things create a mania like Tulip Mania? Yeah. It's a great question. So Tulip Mania occurred in Holland back in the 1600s when the price of a single tulip went up thousands of times. And this is the precursor for why the options market was created. And so human nature always repeats itself. It's doing it right now with AI as well. Whenever there's a new shiny toy, everybody wants a piece, but there's not that many investable assets. So they drive up the valuation of assets that are currently tied to that mania. So right now we're seeing that with NVIDIA as well as with Palantir. So AI is in a bubble right now, and all bubbles burst. I don't know when. Nobody knows when. But if you're a long-term investor, who cares? Yeah. So. And we saw Tulip Mania as well occur with dot-com bubble 1.0 back in 1999 when the market peaked. Eventually, NASDAQ peaked in March of 2000. Yeah. And I don't want you guys to chase stocks. Like, be careful of FOMO, meaning fear of missing out. Like, don't buy gold now because that's near an all-time high. Like, always tell yourself, I can buy it cheaper. Always tell yourself with any stock, I can buy it cheaper. Yeah. And be a long-term investor. Manas, good morning to you as well. Manas wrote, so Trump, the leader of the free world, which you wrote there, wants more tariffs on China. That's right. He wants to increase tariffs by 100% because China wants to restrict the export of rare earth minerals to the United States. Yeah. As the Chinese do not want soybeans, why and how long will this circus go on? Yeah. So I always say when it comes to Donald Trump, you want to focus on what he does and not what he says. Okay, he's a master negotiator. Love him or hate him, this guy can get a deal done. Okay, so usually when two people negotiate, party A says I want this, party B says I want this. With Trump, he wants this, the other party wants this, and instead of meeting in the middle, they meet a little bit closer over here. Yeah. So again, focus on what he does, not what he says. And in the United States, without getting into specifics of legislation, there's enough checks and balances in place that if a certain law is passed, there's other bodies that can kind of contest it, so to speak. Yeah, and think of the United States like greatest hits of everything in Europe. And I know it's a weird thing to say, but hundreds of years ago, a lot of people came from Europe to the United States and other countries too, and they kind of took greatest hits of what worked there in the United States, for good or for bad, whatever. All right, my favorite thing about U.S. politics is that there's term limits. I wish that Canada, where I'm from, had that as well. All right. It's funny, whenever somebody asks a question about politics, the number of views drops materially. Yeah. But I didn't tell you who I voted for. I did not vote, actually, in the last election. Yeah. Okay, next question is, why is gold, ticker GLD, and Bitcoin, and the S&P 500, and even silver at all-time highs? Wasn't gold and stocks supposed to follow the opposite path? Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to all asset classes, excluding gold, you have a very market-friendly administration in the United States, okay? You also have a very cryptocurrency-friendly administration in the United States as well. Now, what about gold? There's supposed to be an inverse relationship. In the fall of 2008, when we were within 24 hours of bank machines not working, my biggest position in my portfolio was ticker GLD. The reason why gold is spiking right now, a lot of it comes down to China. And so the second biggest owner of U.S. Treasuries in the United States is $36 or $37 trillion in debt. The second biggest owner at like $700 or $800 billion of U.S. Treasuries is the Chinese government. And the Chinese government going forward is going to diversify a little bit away, actually a lot away, from U.S. Treasuries. And the U.S. dollar is down 10% so far this year. Think about that. And so what they're probably doing is, well, what's the next best reserve thing to invest in? It's gold. And to a lesser extent, cryptocurrencies. And so, yeah, I'm a bull on gold longer term. Don't buy it now. Wait till it pulls back. And I also think that the price of Bitcoin will reach $1 million at some point in my life. I don't care when. I don't know the path. I know the destination. Yeah. And so I think the rest of the world will become a little bit less reliant on the U.S. dollar. But I still think that the last company on the planet, so to speak, to ever go bankrupt would be the U.S. government, which is why I'm bullish on the S&P 500, which is much better run than the U.S. government. Yeah. What do you think is a condition with the U.S. job market now in the United States and globally? How good is it and how? Yeah. I think it's robust. I think things are good. Right? Don't believe the naysayers, people that are negative on the news, etc. Now, the government sees some data we don't see. And that's why the Federal Reserve cut interest rates by 25 basis points. They'll probably cut another 25 basis points later this year. Yeah. Okay. Things are never as good as they seem, and things are never as bad as they seem. Yeah. Don't listen to the media. Don't listen to me or anybody in terms of what stocks to buy. Always do your own research. Yeah. Okay. The sky is never falling, by the way. Ever since 2022, the U.S. markets and most markets have not ended in negative. Why? And will it continue in 2026 too? I know you may not know, but still, what are your views? Yeah, absolutely. So here's the biggest issue, and this is another reason why gold is up. Okay. So what's happened is the United States government prints $400 billion of this stuff every day, and the amount of U.S. dollars, out there in circulation has increased by about 50% roughly since COVID. So if more of this stuff is being printed, right, supply goes up, price goes down, other asset classes go up. Now, when interest rates reach zero, like they did during COVID, or if they go down a lot, what happens is it forces people to invest in other asset classes. Like, why would you own dollars? Cash is trash. And so when interest rates were basically zero during COVID, what happened was all the crappiest assets in the world went up in price. NFTs, a lot of art, penny stocks, everything went up in price. Yeah. And that's why there's an inverse relationship usually between interest rates and the performance of markets. Yeah. Now, if you go back to the early 1980s, when inflation and interest rates were close to 20%, nobody bought any assets. The stock market sucked and everybody bought bonds. Yeah. And this is why everybody pays really, really close attention to what the Federal Reserve says when the FOMC, meaning Federal Market Committee notes, are released every couple weeks or so. Yeah. All right. Next question's from Robert. Hey, Robert, good to see you. Robert wrote, last week you mentioned that a CFA would be better to take than an MBA. That's right. Do you plan on making a CFA Masterclass? I think only you could make something that prestigious. Thank you so much for that. God bless you. Yeah, I think that going to a traditional MBA program is a waste of money. A CFA is much better. It stands for Certified Financial Analyst Designation. And there's 3 years of it, right? And anybody can take it, right? And you write one exam each year. And you study on your own time. Now, level 1 is all the finance stuff you learn in your traditional MBA program. Level 2 and 3 is more complicated stuff like options, bonds, etc. Yeah. In terms of me making a master class, I've already done that, actually, humbly. And so what I've done is I have here a finance and accounting master class right here. If you're interested in getting access to this product here, it's by appointment only. Just email support@harounventures.com, and I'll have my staff send something to you. Thank you. But I don't believe in government accreditation. And the reason I don't believe in government accreditation is I don't want a government tell me who can and can't get a degree. It's not fair that a lot of people that weren't born with a silver spoon in their mouth and didn't get an undergrad can't do an MBA. Plus, government accreditation means I'd have to teach theoretical crap that wouldn't help you. I could make a lot more money if I did accreditation. And yeah, we thought about it. I ain't going to do it. Yeah. I want education to be accessible at a low price to the masses. Yeah. Because as Nelson Mandela said, education is the most powerful weapon that we can use to fix the world. And what I do with the money I make for my company is I build schools in Africa. I finished Rwanda a couple years ago, doing Kenya now. Next is Nigeria. My goal is to build 1,000 schools in Africa by the time I die. And yes, if I was a quota-carrying sales rep, I'd be fired so many times. But as legendary Canadian director James Cramer said, if you set your goals so high and you fail above everyone else's expectations. Yeah. We're here to serve others. Okay, next question I've got here is, why didn't you desire to be a billionaire like your former bosses? Yeah, I work for lots of billionaires. Yeah. You are smart, I pretend. You were young and in the U.S. Financial Center. Why did you leave all of it and teach normal people like me? Oh, thank you. Yeah. So I'm not motivated by money. And I think anybody motivated by money is clearly depressed. You know, when I went to business school at Columbia University, I worked at Goldman Sachs as well. I knew the kids of a lot of billionaires. They're all depressed, right? And so these billionaires, what happens is they make money their God. And one of the 10 commandments, that's right, I'm going there. One of the 10 commandments is don't have any other gods and don't worship money. Look, money's important, I get it. But how much do you need to eat, right? You make money to give it away. And I think that the problem with the Western society, and look, I'm a capitalist, I am. Okay, growing up in the 1980s, I loved Ronald Reagan. That's why I moved to the U.S. But I believe that if you're too focused on money, you'll never be happy. Yeah. If you chase money, you lose your money and your dreams. If you chase your dreams, you don't give a fuck. That's right. What people think of you. Your dreams come true and the money falls accidentally. Yeah. And the problem with a lot of billionaires is that, you know, there's a lot of nice billionaires too, of course. But a lot of them, their kids go through therapy. And one of the reasons is because they're parents that start these incredible companies that change the world. They see the company as their most important child. Don't ever worship money. Yeah. And again, we're here to serve others. There's got to be a higher calling to what we do. And for those of you that don't feel fulfilled in your current job, I want you to look at it differently. I want you to look at it as you helping your customer to have a better life, right? And as Jeff Bezos once said, a company is only as good as its customer service, and customer service and profitability are almost 100% correlated in the long run. Yeah. And I want you guys to all read, if you can, a great book by the Dalai Lama called The Art of Happiness. And the Dalai Lama said the problem with Western society is we sacrifice our health, our entire lives in order to make money. And then at the end of our lives, we sacrifice all of our money to maintain our health. And then we look back and we realized, I never really lived to begin with. We're here to be happy. Don't you want to be happy? Here's how to be happy. Work hard and don't worry about the future. Think of all the times you worried about the future, about crap that never came true. And Sir Winston Churchill said this: I once met a man on his deathbed who talked about all the worries he had in his life, none of which came true. Don't worry. And when I go into the prison system here in Redwood City, what I usually do is this. I talk to a lot of young men, 20-something-year-olds with deadbeat fathers. I feel bad for them. And it's through the church. Here I go. I say to them, do you believe in God? And they say, yeah. And I say, well, does God believe in you? And they say, yeah. And I say, well, if you don't believe in yourself, you might have to question your faith. And we're never going to question our faith. God always knows what's going to happen. Always. Again, think of all the times you freaked out about stuff in the future that never happened. And I believe, and this is just me, okay, I believe that if we stress out too much about stuff in the future, we're questioning our faith. And we don't want to do that because God always knows what's going to happen. And for those of you that have lost a job, you don't understand this now, but you will many years from now. It was a blessing in disguise. And you'll be grateful to God you were guided down a different path. Okay, there's so many successful people that have been fired. Okay, there's Michael Bloomberg got fired by Merrill Lynch. He got his revenge, certainly. He's a multi-billionaire now. Not that money is a measure of how much I respect somebody. Madonna got fired from Dunkin' Donuts. Robert Redford, God bless him, he just passed away. Love that guy, especially in the natural. He got fired from an oil company. When life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Always have a positive attitude. When something bad happens, aside from health stuff, but when something bad happens career-wise, I want you to ask yourself, what's good about this? What's positive about this? How can I pivot? And I'm here to humbly help you do that. And that's why some of the best investors in the world are unemotional. As Warren Buffett said, you got to be greedy when others are fearful, and fearful when others are greedy. What's positive about a market crash? Well, Warren Buffett said that the New York Stock Exchange is the only store in the world where consumers sell stuff and it goes on sale. Think about that. Always ask yourself, what's positive about this? And be unemotional about business. And everything is going to be okay. Don't worry. All right. Manas said, you said Jim Cramer is a smart dude. He is, but don't listen to him or me or anybody when it comes to picking stocks, please. You said Jim Cramer is a smart dude, but why do most of his stock tips and picks go down once he says buy and up once he said, yeah. Just do your own research, okay? So Jim Cramer worked on the same floor I worked at Goldman Sachs before I arrived there. And he and Robert Rubin were the two smartest people that probably ever worked at Goldman Sachs. He's brilliant, but never rely on anybody else's opinion ever when doing research. And that's why I create all these templates for you guys, right? That's why I have the 100-step stock research template here. I also have a real estate template here before you buy your property. I've also got here a business plan template to create your own business plan before you launch your company. I have enough safety nets to help protect my customers, my students, based on your research. And I feel like it's my fiduciary duty, my fiscal responsibility to protect your capital, to help you. Yeah. Based on your research. What is better, a dumb guy who's a good person to hang out with, or a smart genius who's too shy and away from the crowd? Oh, that is a great question. So I was once on the board of a company called Cohesity. Sequoia led the Series A, and my venture capital firm led the Series B. And I went to Sequoia's headquarters, and I sat down one-on-one for an hour-and-a-half meeting with Doug Leone, who's the best partner there. And I asked him, what kind of people do you invest in and hire? And I'm going to butcher this, but Doug told me something along the lines of, we like to invest in people that feel like there's something wrong with them to the extent that they want to prove the world wrong. There's a chip on their shoulder for some reason. And for example, Elon Musk, the chip on his shoulder is that he got beaten up a lot as a kid, poor guy. Yeah. Steve Jobs had issues getting to know his father. And I think adoption's a beautiful thing. But the great thing about investing in people that have a chip on their shoulder, and I have a chip on my shoulder, which I'll reveal my weakness to you in a second. The good thing about investing in people that have a chip on their shoulder is they're not going to sell their company for $1 million, $10 million, $100 million, $100 billion. They want to make a dent in the universe. They want to prove the damn world wrong. These are the best people to hire and the best people to invest in from a venture capital perspective. They've got a huge appetite for success, and they want to change the world. Those are the best people to invest in. I don't care about intelligence. I care about people that have that attitude. They have that chip on their shoulder, and their raison d'être, their reason for being, the purpose in their life is to prove the world wrong. Now, for me, oh boy, do I have a lot of chips on my shoulder. But for me, when I was younger, when I was in the 6th grade and the 8th grade, the teachers wanted to fail me. They thought I had a learning disability. They sent me to a learning disability center on Lakeshore Road in Oakville, Ontario, called Chisholm. And they did all these tests to see if I was dumb, right? And so I've got this, I have this chip on my shoulder to kind of prove the world wrong and to teach in a different way, to teach with props, to make it edutaining. I mean, there's a reason why my license plate says edutain. I want to prove the world wrong. I want to help people. It's not about money. And they say those who can't do, teach. And those who can't teach gym class. And that's true about gym class teachers. But I'm kidding. No, I love teachers. That's not true what I just said. So for me, I want to prove the world wrong. I want to help people. Yeah. And for those of you that have children where people are misdiagnosing them that maybe have a learning disability, I think the reason could be, and talk to a doctor first, of course, because they're not passionate about what they're doing. And so with me, what my dad did when I was in the 8th grade, when they tried everything, right? my dad even went into school and had one of my teachers fired that was a dick to me. Love my dad. But what my dad did, unconditional love, what my dad did was he bought a Macintosh, for the house. When I was in the 8th grade, back in 1986, 87 or something. Yeah. And that changed my life because I found my passion, which is using computers. I want to help you find your passion as well. That's why I'm here. That's my raison d'être. And I don't care how old or young you are. You can change careers. And I've said this before, but the average life expectancy today versus the 1950s is 26 years longer. That means you're all 26 years younger than you think. You're 46? Fuck that. You're 20. Let me help you start over. And the way I view myself, and this gets me out of bed. I mean, look, dude, this is the 335th weekly webcast I'm doing. I love it, but my purpose, my raison d'être is I'm your waiter when you go to a restaurant. I ripped this last week by accident. And this is where I proposed to my wife. Many years ago, she said yes. But when you go to a restaurant, you look at the whole menu, but you only order 1 or 2 things. And so my job is I'm your waiter. I'm here to serve you. I'm here to help you. I expose you to all different types of careers. And then you pick the one you're most passionate about. And once we figure out why you want that, I help you to fill that gap to get that job. That's what gets me out of bed every day. Yeah. I would do this in my vacation. I retired like in 2016. I love this. I want to help you do what you want to do for vacation. So let me ask you this if you haven't found your passion. All right. If I were to tell you, pardon me, if I were to tell you that, and give me 1 second, guys. So if your voice ever goes, which happens to me sometimes, you can use a product called Clear Voice. This helps. I feel like I'm on the Truman Show. But if I told you all this, for the next 30 days, you're not allowed to work, and you can't go to school and you can't travel, what are you going to do with your time? What are you going to do with your time? And whatever the answer to that is your passion, your purpose, your raison d'être. Let me be the catalyst to humbly help you get there. So if you want, go to the description on this webcast and book a call with somebody on my team, and we can help you. Yeah. All right, enough of the infomercial crap. Chris, get to the next question. Okay. Manas said, Goldman Sachs, where I used to work, said tariffs are hurting the U.S. consumer more than the world. Can you tell me why and what is this the antidote to? Yeah, it's definitely hurting. Obviously, 2/3 of the U.S. economy, people don't realize, is consumer spending. It's not big business. So yeah, it's going to have an impact in the short term. But we don't know the long-term repercussions. We might look back at what's happening now 20 years from now, we might look back and say, this tariff threat was brilliant because it helped to, I don't know, increase US GDP or decrease US debt, which has to go down, by the way. We don't know what the impact will be yet. Yeah. But my gut is longer term, probably positive. But we just don't know at this point. Yeah. Tariff wars are awful, but there's nothing wrong with negotiating and get better terms. And I feel like the US has been ripped off for years as well. Okay. It is what it is. Again, I did not vote in the last election. All right. Next question is, if you were the head of JP Morgan or Morgan Stanley, what would you expect in a newbie investment banker, sorry, I misread that. If you were to interview them, what should they know? And yeah. So if you want to work at an investment bank or a hedge fund or venture capital firm or private equity firm, we've helped a lot of people change careers to get there. But what you need to do is you need to practice interview questions thoroughly, okay? Fail in the plan is plan to fail. Here's how. So what I've done is I created a 150-page workbook here, and this is every question they could possibly ask you. Every question. And it's part of my finance bootcamp program on my website. But what you need to do is practice answering all those questions. You don't have to buy my stuff. There's plenty of other websites to do what I do. But practice yourself answering those questions. And body language is key. So what I want you all to do is to go to the following website with me right now. So let's go here to udily.ai. And a brilliant man named Haroun, who's been on my webcast multiple times, he created this company. And this product is free. And I want you all to use it, okay? What you can do is it records you answering questions, okay? And then what it tells you is if you're speaking too quickly, which I might be right now, it'll tell you if your body language sucks, if you're not making eye contact with the camera, etc. Again, go to udily.ai and try this product out for free. It'll help you materially when you go to interviews. Okay. And congratulations to Haroun, who the head of Udily, been on my webcast a number of times before. He raised, I think it was over $20 million from the venture capital firm that backed Microsoft. Yeah, he's a good dude. I love him. Yeah. Okay. Next question is, Malcolm wrote, it's good to see you, Chris. Likewise. I've done my due diligence on the ETFs I want to hold, but I'm having trouble picking growth-tilted satellite stocks for my portfolio as I'm not familiar with any. How can I go about researching growth stocks to hold for the long run as well? Yeah. So if you want to invest in ETFs, I want you to go to a free website. It's called etfdb.com. That's etfdatabase.com. And what you can do is you can look at ETFs by type. You can look at ETFs by flavor, by geography, etc., including satellite ones. So go to this website here, and that will help you out as well. Now, for those of you that are having problems coming up with which stocks to invest in, I want you to think of it this way. I want you to think of an investment theme, and then find the ETF for it, and then go to the holdings of that ETF and do research on those individual companies. Yeah. And whenever you do research on companies, start with the management team. But I'll always start with this question. In 5 years, is this company going to be more relevant or less relevant than it is today? Always do that. Because I don't want to invest in value traps, stocks that are cheap for a reason. You know, for example, back in 2007 or 2008, you know, when the iPhone was first released, we all knew that my beloved Research in Motion BlackBerry company would not be doing well longer term. Yeah, the stock got cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. But if you take a step back and if you ask yourself back then, 5 years from now, will BlackBerry be more relevant or less relevant? Obviously less relevant. You could have done the same thing with Yahoo, with Google years ago as well. Yeah. The longer the view, the less the intention. Okay. Why is there such a big pay gap between JP Morgan in the United States and in Asian countries? Sometimes it's a gap of 1 to 10. Yeah. It all depends on the cost of living. Like for me, for example, I started my career after I graduated from McGill University in '94 at Accenture, which some people call Accidenture. Just kidding, sort of. But no, it's a good company. But Accenture, I remember I made literally $19,000 a year US. And people that had the same position, I was in Canada, the same position that I had in the United States were making, $35,000. So it's all based on location. Yeah. And I lived well back then too on that amount. Yeah. That's how old I am, folks. Yeah. All right. Manas wrote, are we in a bubble like all of assets? If not, why? Yeah, we are. We are, but I don't really think of it that way. I think long term. I always think what's my target price on stocks can be in 5 or 10 years. Yeah. I don't care about the path. I care about the destination. Yeah. And nobody can time markets. Okay. And for those day traders out there, please be careful. I'm going to get down on my knees because I love you guys so much. Okay. Please, 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 please. Do not day trade. It will all end badly. Why? Because every month has 20 weekdays, meaning 20 days the markets are open. How do you know what Trump is going to say tomorrow, or what some oil tycoon is going to say the next day, or what Jensen Huang will say the next day about earnings? We have no idea. And that's why you can't be a day trader. And there's a lot of black swan events. What does black swan mean? Well, it's a great book written by Nicholas Taleb, which is a lot of things you can't forecast, stuff that's going to drive the market up or down. You can't forecast 9/11, can't forecast COVID. You can't forecast when the Japanese government Minister of Finance last August of last year increased interest rates. You can't forecast that stuff. So be longer term focused, please. And I say that with love in my heart always. Okay. And I once worked at a hedge fund called Pequot many years ago. And I remember it was one of us pitched to our billionaire boss, Art Sandberg, some short. I think it was a housing short on Lennar, ticker LEN and KBH back in the summer 2006. And the pitch was, hey, we're in a bubble. We should short these housing stocks. And his response was pretty smart. He said this, son, I've been alive long enough, and God bless him, he just passed away. I've been alive long enough to understand never to stand in the way of insanity. Markets peak, markets trough. You can't time it. Nobody knows. That's why you have to be a long-term investor, always. I promise you this works best, and you'll sleep well at night. And everybody on this call, myself included, have sold a stock that we love because it went down. Moronic. Me being the moron. And the historical chart looks like this. Okay, we sold here, and now stocks like that. Just be a long-term investor, please. And if you don't have time to do investment research on stocks, just buy ETFs, please. Yeah. Next question from Malcolm is, what are your thoughts on Well, a healthcare ticker WLL? They seem to have good fundamentals in place. However, their low share price makes me a little weary. You say not to buy stocks that are cheap for a reason. Yeah, you got to do your investment research on that. And here's exactly how you do investment research. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to fill out my 100-step investment research dashboard here. You always start with the management team, okay, and the last step is technical analysis. Okay, you answer all the questions, and you value the company based on your forecast in 5 years. And what you also need to do is you need to actually take my forensic financial statement analysis using AI course to find out if there are balance sheet issues with the company, footnote issues, etc. And when you take this course, you can print out a one-pager or a massive detailed report. That will help you with your due diligence. Yeah. Moving on to Malcolm, who wrote, do you think online banks will be more relevant in 5 years? Yes. Yes, I do. I don't know much about it. But 5 years from now, will doing stuff online be more relevant or less relevant than today? Well, of course, more relevant. Yeah. And then a company such as SoFi seems to provide good service for those who prefer the online flexibility. Always do your investment right up first before you buy that stock. Yeah. And the investment write-up process that I showed you is based on my experience, working at the top hedge funds in the world, starting my own hedge fund, working at venture capital, or invested in Facebook and Palantir pre-IPO, and working at Goldman Sachs as well. It's tried, tested, and true based on your research, not mine. Yeah. And I believe in teaching a person to fish instead of providing them with a fish. Teach someone how to fish, they'll eat for a lifetime instead of eating for a day. I butchered that quote, but y'all know what I mean. And when I say y'all, it's with Texas in my heart. And thank you so much, Jason Smith, for giving this at my annual event recently. He proudly served. Okay, next question is, do you think DeepSeek, which is the Chinese alternative to ChatGPT, do you think DeepSeek can beat OpenAI long-term as a former quant manager, CEO guy, yada, yada, yada? No, I don't, because I don't think DeepSeek is going to be allowed in a lot of countries. I think eventually it's going to be banned in the United States. It's not fair. Let me show you DeepSeek, okay? So when you use DeepSeek, there are certain things you can't get access to. So watch this here, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here. Actually, screw that. I'm not going to log in. I don't even trust it. But if you were to log into DeepSeek, okay, which I've done before, and if you did a search on exactly this, tell me what happened in Tiananmen Square in 1989. It won't tell you anything. Now, if you wrote the same thing in OpenAI ChatGPT, of course it would tell you a lot of stuff. Now, if you go to DeepSeek and you say, tell me what happened on 9/11, it gives you an endless response. Yeah. So anyway, I don't trust it. Okay. And I think DeepSeek eventually will be banned in the United States. Yeah. And you wrote OpenAI needed $14 billion for something DeepSeek did in under $1 million. Yeah. Well, I think that there's going to be a lot of restrictions. So for example, if you look at BYD, so BYD is a Chinese version of Tesla. Their cars are twice as good and half the price. You don't see them in America because they're banned here. Yeah, or there's high tariffs. Same thing will happen with DeepSeek, I think. Yeah. All right. If you were the Prime Minister of Canada, and actually overlapped with Mark Carney when I worked at Goldman a million years ago, nice guy. And I got to tell you really quickly my story about Justin Trudeau. I went to school with him at McGill University. Okay, so here's what happens. It's 1994. Okay, it's my last year of university at McGill University. And there's this girl that is so gorgeous that nobody talks to her. And so it's right in front of the McClellan Library. And there's this open air charity event on campus. And she's there. And I'm like, you know what, man? Screw it. I'm going to take a chance. And I went up to her and I start talking to her. And 5 minutes go by and, you know, she's laughing, twirling her hair and stuff. Things are going really well. And you know how awful my jokes are too. 20 minutes go by and she's still talking to me. I'm like, dude, WTF, why the face? This is amazing. And so I'm thinking to myself, okay, Chris, you got to ask for her number now. Ask for her number right now. 30 minutes go by, right? And we're still talking. It's unbelievable. I'm like, dude, pinch myself. Am I freaking dreaming? And then what happens, all of a sudden, this dude who looked like Jim Morrison with long hair walks up and starts talking to her. And what she does is she turns her back on me and is talking to him. And she's laughing at everything he says. His jokes are even worse than mine. Mine are pretty bad. I'm like, what the hell, man? What is happening here? So I introduced myself. I said to him, hi, Chris Haroun. Like, I'm nobody, eh? And he goes, Justin Trudeau. Dude, I got Heisman by a Kennedy. I can't compete. Yeah. Apparently he's dating Katy Perry. Yeah. Who Kissed a Girl. Yeah. Remember that song? All right. Let me move on here. So if you were the Prime Minister of Canada for a year, how would you make Canada great again? Well, what I would do is I'd probably wear a red hat that says, make Trudeau a drama teacher again. How would you make Canada great again? Without making your old pal a drama teacher again. Yeah, a couple things. Taxes are way too high in Canada. And I don't believe it's fair that politicians can be in power forever. Like when I was a kid, you know, Trudeau's dad, Pierre Trudeau, was prime minister for like 8 million years. There's got to be term limits. If there's term limits in place, right, and that's a problem with the parliamentary system. If there's term limits in place like we have in the United States, then you know that there's no more than 8 years that you can tolerate a person. So term limits, number one. Number two, I would materially cut taxes. I'm a libertarian. I believe in small government like Ronald Reagan did. I love Ronald Reagan. Yeah. Number three, I would probably have a free trade agreement with Europe. Yeah, and threaten to have a free trade agreement with other countries that the U.S. maybe doesn't like as much as negotiating power, so that the United States and Canada can again have free trade. Yeah. Yeah. But there's not much I change about Canada. I love the country. And I love the United States too. It's why I'm here. Yeah. I would also, okay, this is going to be controversial. I'd probably also slow down immigration a lot in Canada. Now, immigration's a beautiful thing. I'm a product of an immigrant. My dad immigrated from Egypt in the 1960s to Canada. I immigrated to the United States. But the problem with Canada is they let in too many people in a short amount of time, which is why the price of housing in the United States, in Canada, relatively speaking, the United States is much, much higher. Unsustainable. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Hey, Jerome. Jerome wrote, what's your take on investing in precious metals? Yeah, so I almost always have a 5% position in ticker GLD. I believe in this longer term. In terms of other asset classes, not as much. I guess rare earths through some of my portfolio investments. But aside from that, I guess my exposure to commodities is just based on individual stocks I own. Yeah. Yeah. But there's a scarcity, all that stuff. Now, if you guys want to read about precious metals, I want you to read a book called A Bull in China. Yeah, it's a good book. It's an oldie, but a goodie. Really studied back in 2008. Yeah. And I remember back, I think it was in 2006, 2007, I met with the CFO of United Technologies, which at the time owned the Otis elevator brand. And the CFO told me that in the next 5 years, more buildings were going to be built in China than the cumulative total of all buildings ever built since the beginning of time. And so if you look at that high-level secular trend, what goes into buildings? Well, a lot of commodities. Yeah. And I remember back then also, every single year, the equivalent of the electricity grid infrastructure of the United Kingdom was built in China every single year. Yeah. Of course, what does that mean for commodities? Bullish. Yeah. But I'm not a big fan of oil longer term because I think that, and we're only 9 months in, but I think that, the next administration will be very pro environmental stuff. Yeah. And there's a very famous Saudi Aramco executive who said, the Stone Age did not end because they ran out of stones. Yeah. Okay. So funny. Whenever I mention a politician's name, the number of viewers drops immediately. Okay. Peter wrote, speaking of Tesla, did you see the footage of the Tesla car fooled into driving through a Wile E. Coyote painting on the landscape because it uses camera instead of LiDAR? It was hilarious. No, I didn't see that. We have a Tesla, and apparently you can all use automatic driving now for free. You don't have to pay that ridiculous fee. Yeah, I won't let my son do that, though. My son is now 16, and we don't have insurance on a Tesla on purpose for him, but our other cars we do. All right. Next up, Jerome wrote, what would be the catalyst for the price of gold to go up or down? Yeah. I mean, for it to go up, it's usually a massive economic downturn. Like 2008 when we were within 24 hours of bank machines not working, I made GLD my biggest position. It's usually a fear thing you buy, right? Gold goes up when there's fear. Yeah. It's kind of like the VIX goes up when there's volatility, meaning fear. In terms of going down, I'd probably say robust GDP growth, peace on earth, every country loves each other. If this would never happen, but if the United States and China ever announced a free trade agreement, the price of gold would plummet. Yeah. All right. Hey, Jason. Good to see you. Okay. Vinmar wrote, hey, Chris. Hey, can you tell me how to learn technical analysis? Yeah. Yeah. So it's not that hard. What you can do if you've taken any of my courses, like for example here, all you got to do is go to AI Chris, which is available on this platform here, and just do a search for where do you teach technical analysis. And this uses ChatGPT 4.0. I'm sorry if you couldn't see because of the black line at the bottom there, but this will tell you exactly where it is in my curriculum. As well as what is technical analysis. And I've got about 600 hours of closed caption stuff in my large language model right here. Yeah. All right. So it's going to be in Finance and Accounting class number 6. You click here to go directly to it. And this is where I teach technical analysis. Yeah. All right. All right. Let me move on to the next question here. Yes, and just do a search also on my YouTube channel for technical analysis. You don't have to buy my stuff to read. I've taught all this stuff online before. All right, so Israel wrote, hey, Chris, I started the Silver program yesterday, and it was an honor speaking with you. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome to the program. You wrote, my question is, first time I'm into trading, be a long-term investor, please. I say it with love my heart. And my goal is having my own business or a firm in investment banking and trading and options. Can you explain more about it since I'm starting from scratch and I'm a beginner? Yeah, keep working through the FA lessons, meaning finance and accounting. Okay, and if you want to learn about options, go to FA 44, which is Finance and Accounting, Semester 4, Class 4. Yeah. And then today, in about an hour, there's the weekly Zoom call you can join for free. Just go to the very first lecture of your curriculum to join. Yeah. And ask me more about it. I'm happy to help you out. Yeah. All right. Next question is, I heard in your YouTube, it's better to be long-term when you focus on options, not short-term. Can you go over that a little bit more? Thanks. Yeah, absolutely. So whenever I don't want you guys to sell options, meaning calls and puts, because if you sell them, you underwrite them, and quite often that's short-term focused. What happens is you can lose way more money than what you invested. Most people don't realize that if you get randomly assigned. So the only time I want you to think about using options when you first get started is because of this. First of all, do a deep do research investment analysis using my 100-step template. And if you see, say, several 100% upside to a target price in a couple of years or 5 years, then you can buy what are called leaps, right? And leaps are, in this case, are calls that expire in 1, 2, or 3 years. Yeah. All right, next up, we have Caroline, who's from France originally, but now lives in Canada. Wrote, hi, Chris. I hope you're doing well, likewise. Which movies or series are you watching these days? Which would you recommend? Yeah. So many of you are here because you've watched a lot of my billions reaction videos on my YouTube channel. I just released one on Suits. And then I'm working on Succession, which is going to be released later this week or next week. After that, I'm doing The Social Network and then Silicon Valley, the show. Now, if there's any TV shows or finance or business movies you guys want me to do reviews on, please let me know. I've done tons of them, like 50 or something like that, I can't remember, on my YouTube channel, which is so much fun. Okay. All right, let me go back to my nighttime background for fun here. And I'm shining here. And when I've done interviews on television, NBC and stuff, what they usually do is they put makeup on your face because I have all these bright lights here. I'll show you here, right? And you guys got to do this as well, please. I know it looks crazy here when I'm about to show you, but if you look like you're perspiring, especially in an interview, it shows that maybe you're nervous. I perspire a lot. So what you do is you go to the drugstore and you speak to somebody who works there and says, hey, do you have any stuff like powder that matches my skin color? Okay. Then what you do is you put it on. I'll just do half my face to show you, and then you don't look as nervous. But all interviews and stuff, they do this on television. So this has a little bit less shiny. Yeah. So you got to do it. Okay. Maybe I'm beautiful. Maybe it's Maybelline. All right. Next question I've got here is it possible to short gold? Absolutely. Yeah. The way you do it is you short ticker GLD. Okay. Yeah. How can the SEC come after more than 1 million people with unknown usernames on Reddit, even in pictures? A lot of retail investors. And I want you to be careful. That's all. Okay. All right. Hey, Abhishek, how are you? I think we have a one-on-one later today. I'm looking forward to getting to know you and humbly helping you. And I've done a lot of calls to your dad. It's a good dude. All right. So Abhishek wrote, might be you, could be somebody else. Yeah. I'm from India. Following from 2 years, I still remember when the VIX is higher than 70, go in. It was a damn idea. Bought NASDAQ ETF. I'm currently up around 40%. Nice. Excellent. What does that mean? So I've said this forever, and I put my reputation on the line in terms of how to make money if this happens. Okay, do your research first and all that crap. So there's something called the VIX, okay? And the VIX is a measure of fear, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain this in a lot of detail, okay? So the VIX here is a volatility index that was created back in 1990 by the CBOE. And a high number means there's a lot of fear. And this tells you when to buy. Okay, you can still invest in stocks every single day if you want to, but this tells you when to go all in, right, after you do your research. So what the VIX does is it measures what the market expects the volatility to be for the S&P 500 for the next, 20 or 30 days or so. And if the market from an options perspective expects high volatility, then that means fear. And you can't see this intraday, but in 2008, when we were within 24 hours of bank machines not working, the VIX went above 70. And in Q1 of 2020 during COVID, when people were doing stupid things like pricing oil at negative $40 a barrel, that's right, the VIX went above 80 intraday. These are the times to buy. And I promise you, when the VIX goes above 70 or whatever it is, and we almost got there actually in April. We were 60-something back in April, right? Intraday, you can't see it. But when the VIX spikes, and spike it will one day, what I want you to do is no matter what, I want you to buy some slightly more risky stocks after you do your research. And I promise you that if and when the VIX spikes to above 70 again, you're going to see that. You're going to think, I'm fucking crazy to buy stocks now. Chris is crazy. Well, maybe I am. But that's when you want to buy because nobody else is. And as Warren Buffett said, you need to be greedy when others are fearful and fearful when others are greedy. Okay, so right now the VIX is showing, let me actually just do right here. Yeah, there's a little bit more fear building up right now, but the VIX is still relatively low. And I only want you to use this index, for intraday. So again, intraday, you can't see it here, but back in April when Trump first announced his tariff stuff, the VIX went, above 60 or 70. And that's when you buy. So let me show you here. NVIDIA, it was probably got crushed then too. Yeah, here it is right here. See April? So NVIDIA got crushed, and you can see here the relative strength index, it was oversold then. NVIDIA was at, what is that? 100. Yeah, NVIDIA's up like 80% since then. That's when you buy. You buy when everybody else is freaking out. It's kind of like my my hero, being a proud Canadian. I live in the U.S. I'm proud to be American too. But my hero, Wayne Gretzky, who's very humble, best athlete ever. That's right. He said he was humbly successful, not because he skated where the puck is, but rather because he skated where the puck is going to be. And by the same token, I want you all to buy stocks that people are going to like. So if the VIX, when the VIX spikes to above 70 again, which it will one day, maybe above 65, whatever, you can kind of front run that. I want you to buy stocks because nobody else will be. And if you're a contrarian in business and in life, you'll be really, really successful. When bad things happen in business, like a market crash, you might ask yourself, what's positive about this? Well, what's positive about this is everybody is selling. Be a contrarian and watch your net worth take off, always. And from a behavioral finance perspective, you can actually analyze this stuff as well. So what you can do is you can look at when Elon Musk buys Tesla stock and see what happens to the stock a year later. Usually it's up a lot. Okay, but you got to do your analysis. Okay, so in Q1 of 2020, when COVID hit and the future price of oil was negative 40 or 50 bucks, Elon Musk backed up the truck and bought a lot of shares in Tesla in size. You can search for Form 4s. They're out there on SEC.gov. Stock went up a lot. Then he sold, I think it was in the fall of 2021, I believe, when Tesla was at an all-time high. And I think he might have recently bought again. These successful people are unemotional, and that's why they're successful. So you can always ask ChatGPT to help you to do a chart of when, certain executives sell a stock and how it does a year later. And I remember when I worked in the hedge fund industry, I would meet with Bobby Kotick every now and then. So Bobby Kotick was the funny founder and CEO of Activision, ticker ATVI. And Microsoft, of course, bought them. But I would always invest. I would buy Activision after Bobby Kotick bought a lot of shares, which is publicly disclosed, and vice versa, short when he sold. And it worked. Now, in order to make this trade work for you, you have to do the research. So pick executives, they're usually founders, and try to map out, chart where they bought and where they've sold in the past and how the stock did 1 year later. Now, don't do it for 10b5 plans, meaning a scheduled small selling. Do it for massive buys and sells. Do the work. This works, I promise you. And there's a great a mutual fund here in the Bay Area called Fuller and Taylor. And Dave Potter, my best friend growing up, is a portfolio manager there. And Richard Fuller, who just got a Nobel Prize not that long ago in finance, that's what they do. They look at behavioral finance. They look at insider buying and selling. Anybody can do it. And it's easy to do now using AI. Make that part of your investment thesis when you do an analysis on stocks. Behavioral finance. All right. All right. Manas wrote, do you think U.S. midterms will be the most anticipated elections ever under a year? Though I'd say the most anticipated one is the one that just occurred last year, the federal election. Yeah. And then for people worried about government shutdown, don't let the naysayers freak out. It's just negotiations. Like whenever they announce a government shutdown, does that mean the government's going to be shut down forever? No. It's just it's a bipartisan thing where they're negotiating. Yeah. It's a blip. All right. Yeah. All right. Next up, we got Charitra. How are you? You wrote, hey, Chris, I'm pursuing a CFA. I want to know, do prop desks still exist? And if they do, where should I target to work between global macro trading desk versus macro hedge fund? Yeah. So prop trading means proprietary trading. And whenever you see a trading floor on television that's not the New York Stock Exchange, it's usually a trading floor of a big sell-side investment bank like Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, UBS, etc. And on that trading floor, salespeople sit there, sales traders, as well as traders. And the traders quite often are prop traders, meaning proprietary traders. And their book, so to speak, is they focus on one sector. You could have one trader on that floor that's sitting there with everybody else to get news flow, that's investing the firm's money in, commodities or software stocks or healthcare, financials, etc. Yes, they exist at big firms like that. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of it, though. I think that market is going away. Yeah. Like you can make more money being a longer-term focus. So I think you're better served working at a hedge fund instead. Yeah. If you want global macro, there's not that many that do well. So macro-related trading means, anticipating foreign exchange rates and all that stuff. There's only a handful of people that can do it effectively, like George Soros, who manipulated a lot of markets. That's right. And so George Soros, what he did was he made $1 billion in one day shorting the Thai baht. And I can talk about that in a lot more detail if you want me to. Yeah. Alexander wrote, will the SEC ever move towards politicians? God, I hope so. I hope so. It's not fair that politicians can buy stocks if they're privy to certain information. And I don't want to get political, but there's been, some discussion that politicians that rhyme with Relosi might have transacted on that stuff. But again, I did not vote in the last election, please. But I think it should be against the law for politicians to invest in stocks. I think they should be allowed to every year automatically buy the S&P 500, but that's it. But they can't time the market. It's not fair. Yeah, especially with all these lobbyists. It's ridiculous. Okay, Manas wrote, will Alibaba beat Amazon the long run? I don't think so. I don't think so. No. All right. How often? I don't really use Alibaba for anything. I use it sometimes for AliExpress.com just to buy cheap stuff. Yeah. But Amazon is too well positioned. All right. Charitra wrote, also, I want to ask, what would be the difference between trading ideologies of George Soros and Ray Dalio? Yeah, so George Soros, when he's involved in the market and not manipulating elections, when he's involved in the market, he's more of a macro guy like currencies and stuff. Ray Dalio's fund, Bridgewater, I have a lot of friends that work there, and I'll tell you what it's like working there in a second. Bridgewater is based in Connecticut. It's one of the biggest hedge funds in the world. Bridgewater does everything. Stocks, commodities, everything. right? So it does equities as well, whereas Soros wasn't really that much of an expert in that area. Now, working at Bridgewater, it's tough, man. And I know many of you have read that book, Principles, by Ray Dalio. Look, he's a brilliant man. Don't let him scare you with any of his stuff on, oh my God, it's the end of the world from a macro perspective. He doesn't understand macro. He's more of an equities guy. Also, at Bridgewater, I had friends that worked there. It's crazy because turnover, according to them, I can't confirm this, is about 40% per year in terms of employees. And every single meeting at Bridgewater is recorded. Every conversation is recorded, except when you're in the bathroom, which is where Fonz does all his meetings. Please tell me somebody understood that. What an uncomfortable corporate culture that would be. But they make money. It works for them. It's not for me, though. All right, Anthony wrote, hi, Chris. I'm such a huge fan. Thank you. God bless you. Thanks. I'm really interested in networking, and it seems your new community is something that is really valuable. Can you explain more of the value of it? Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, yeah, the way it works is, let me go here. So, yeah, the way it works, and we just launched it, and it's exclusive. It's pretty small. Oh, wow. That's a pretty good number. Yeah. We haven't even marketed it yet, but you can communicate with people all over the world, and we're all here to help each other as well. And people that get into my programs are usually pretty cool, pretty laid back. The jerk factor is non-existent. We screen everybody. Okay, but you share wins. You introduce yourself. There's lots of events that only occur directly on this platform. You also get access to tons of events. There's leaderboard, there's gamification as well. You can come to in-person events as well. There's also every course I've ever published and ever will publish. And I go live on the platform every now and then as well to talk directly one-to-one with the students. I answer all questions as well really quickly here. If you have questions for me, I answer here quickly. And there's also an AI Chris as well, which I showed a bit earlier. Yeah. Now, there's also an iOS app as well as an Android app as well, if you're interested. Yeah. And if you're interested in joining, and I haven't really publicized it outside of the people who have been with me since day one. If you're interested, just email support@harounventures.com, and we could send you more details. Thank you. Thanks. God bless you. All right, give me 1 second. All right, let me refresh this page here. A lot of questions coming through. If I don't answer them all, I do a weekly Zoom call. My premium students can join. It starts at 10 a.m. Pacific time today. If you want to learn more and set up a call with somebody on my team to talk about one-on-one consulting with me and group coaching, I have a program where you get 300 hours of Zoom access to me over the course of a year, very small group Zoom meetings every single day. If you want to learn more, go to the description of this video and just click on the link there to set up a call with somebody on my team. Yeah. All right, give me 1 second here to catch up. Okay. Okay, next question is from Charitra, who wrote, what do you think the future of finance should be? Should people consider fundamental discretionary, or is it just quant and systematic funds that are going to exist in the future? Yeah, what people don't realize is 75% of all jobs at finance-oriented firms, like big investment banks, are sales-oriented. Okay, so the future of finance is, I don't think that salespeople are going to be disintermediated by AI anytime in the near future, especially private wealth management executives that focus on ultra high net worth executives. I don't trust AI. A lot of people don't either. I think where AI is going to disrupt that part of the business model is for robo-advising with small accounts, perhaps. Yeah. But anything repetitive in finance is going to be disintermediated by technology, that's for sure. And we're going to see consolidation as well, to the extent that if you're an analyst working at a hedge fund, right, you're going to cover more companies using AI. So fewer analysts will be hired. Yeah. Embrace AI, everybody, which I teach in my programs. Embrace AI as your competitive weapon and use it to disrupt yourself, to be more valuable yourself, to be more productive yourself, to work smarter yourself, not harder, before the marketplace does. Yeah. Don't fear it. Embrace it. Yeah. Okay. And then Frejus wrote, I'm from Africa. Thanks for your words. Thank you. God bless you. God bless you. Let me show you just really quickly here the use of proceeds for what I do. So what I do with my money, the reason I do what I do is to build schools. So I'm currently, and I was in Kenya a couple months ago, building a school with my students. And then a couple of years ago, I built a school in Rwanda as well. And then what's coming next is going to be Nigeria, etc. And my dad always gives me crap because, he's from Egypt and he's like, Chris, why have you never done one in Egypt? And I will. I'll do it in the town my dad was born, which is Sohag. Yeah. All right. Next question is, I don't like value stocks. I never did because I'm young and naive. Can you tell me please why? And what is a good example of value stock and why? And are dividends important? That's a great question. Okay, there's two classes of investors. Okay, and this is very contentious. What I'm about to share with you is like religion or politics. You're either a growth investor, which means you like to buy expensive stuff that's growing fast, like tech stocks, or you're a value investor, like Mr. Buffett. You buy cheap stuff that is not growing as quickly, right? Now, every growth stock eventually can't grow in the long run because of a lot of large numbers. And so it transitions to value. Don't ever buy a stock that is transitioning from growth to value because it can take forever. Because if you're stuck between growth and value, I refer to this, I coin this as investment purgatory. You don't know how long it's going to take. Unless an activist investor like Carl Icahn comes on board and buys a big stake in the underlying company, breaks into two pieces like he did with eBay and PayPal to unlock shareholder value. So a lot of people that are younger are value investors because they're taught theoretically in school, buy low, sell high, or buy when PEs are low. And then you get a little bit more sophisticated and maybe you navigate towards growth or value as you get older. And the reason why, for me, I'm a growth investor, is I value stocks based on my earnings estimates in 5 or 10 years. So I see a lot of value in these stocks that are cheap based on my estimates in 5 or 10 years. Many years ago, when I worked in the hedge fund industry, people would say to me, Chris, you're crazy to own Amazon ticker AMZN. Chris, it's a widowmaker. Why do you own it? It's trading at over 100 times earnings. And I would say, no, au contraire, that's not right. It's trading at 3 times my 5 or 10 year estimate. The longer the view, the wiser the intention. Yeah. Now, an example of a value stock is something that is cheap, that has a relatively okay dividend yield, like Campbell's Soup, CPB, Soup is Good Food, and stocks like value stocks like that tend to do better and outperform during massive economic recessions. You still need to eat. A growth stock is something that's really, really expensive and growing really, really fast, maybe Figma or something which recently went public. That's it. But regardless, you got to do your research and create your own valuation framework and value the company based on your estimates in 5 or 10 years, which my frameworks helps you with. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but in terms of dividends, please, I beg all of you, don't just buy a stock because the dividend yield is high. Sometimes if you see a dividend yield is 25%, it's either a misprint, right, on whatever quotation service you're using online, or a one-time dividend, or the marketplace is telling you, the smart investor are telling you that is not a sustainable dividend and the company could go belly up. Do your research first, always. Yeah. Okay. Okay, next question is, how does beta neutral work and why do funds follow it? And also, can you name a really good hedge fund that inspired you back in the day? Yeah, probably the best hedge fund inspired me back in the day where I used to work is a hedge fund called Citadel. They're great. But generally speaking, when it comes to beta neutral, what that means is this. Okay, so let me first of all explain market neutral. So some hedge funds have an equal number of longs and shorts so that they're not long or short the market, they're neutral the market. Okay, and market neutral generally means plus or minus 15% long or 15% short. Okay, now, so if I had $100, $50 long, $50 short. Now, what about beta neutral? Well, beta neutral is a bit different. So beta measures how volatile a stock is, right? The S&P 500 has a beta of 1. So if I have $100 to invest and the stock I'm long has a beta of 1, so that means I'm $50 long, and the stock I'm short has a beta of 2, that means my portfolio acts like this is $100 short. So that would mean I'm $50 net short. So I need to make sure that the dollars long yo times the beta equals the dollar short times the beta as well. Generally speaking, that's what beta neutral means. Generally speaking. Okay, Rose. Oh, wow, Rose. I think I remember you. You were my MBA class back in 2019, right? Virginia, I think, yeah. Maybe somebody else. I can't remember. You wrote, it's been 100 years. I've grown a gray beard now, Chris, just joking. But nice to see how far the MBA program and the channel has come. Thank you. It's great to see you again. And I hope that you and your mother are doing well. Yeah. All right, moving on to Vinny. Vinny wrote, 100% agree with you on immigration policies in Canada. It's a mess here. Yeah. No assimilation anymore. Truly frustrating. I'm from a family of immigrants that assimilated. Yeah. It's hard. Yeah. And I feel bad for my friends in Canada because the cost of housing in Canada right now is higher, much higher per capita than it is in the United States. Not sustainable. Yeah. But I'm a much bigger fan of Mark Carney, current Prime Minister, than I was of the previous dude who's dating Katy Perry now. Okay, and then Rose wrote, are you still accepting affiliates? Yeah, we're not really doing the affiliate program. I think we might launch a new one soon. Yeah, our demand is crazy high and all that stuff. There's only so much capacity we can handle. Yeah, thanks. All right, moving on to Prince Kumar. How are you? A pleasure to meet you. First time seeing the call. Hope you join us again. Wrote, hello, I'm from India, and I recently completed your course on cryptos. Even though it's an older course, I found it extremely valuable and insightful. Thanks. It's older, probably she took it on a platform like Udemy. If you take it on my platform, all my stuff is more up to date. Yeah. And then you wrote, I want to build a career in crypto research, especially with hedge funds or crypto-focused venture capital firms. I know they rarely hire freshers. So could you guide me on what to study and how to start in this field? Yeah. So I would first of all, get work experience at a financial services company doing equity research if you want on publicly traded crypto companies. If you want, there's not that many, but they exist. And if you want to be able to do that, what I would do is just set up a call with somebody on my team because we have a finance boot camp as well to help you get that job. Yeah. All right, Mapco. A lot of new people today. How are you? Welcome. Hope you join us again. Mapco wrote, hey, Chris, I have a career regarding question. Coming from the Balkans, how realistic is it for me to expect to get a job at Wall Street or London at a trading desk in asset management? Very realistic. Okay? Don't ever let your background determine how successful you'll be. You can easily do it. How are you going to do it? Here's how. Step 1, you're going to make an amazing LinkedIn profile. We can help you with it too if you want. Step 2, you're going to send in-mails to people also from the Balkans that work on Wall Street. Okay, so let's pretend that in 20 years, you're way more successful than you already are today. And you're from the Balkans and, I don't know, maybe you work at a big hedge fund in New York City. And you get this in-mail from this guy 20 years younger than you who says, hi, I'm also from the Balkans, and I also grew up in whatever hometown you're from. And I also went to whatever school you went to. Please let me know if you have time for a quick Zoom call. Thanks a lot, Jennifer. Would you take that meeting? You fucking right you would. That's what you got to do. You got to reach out to people. Your network is your net worth, and relationships are always more important than product knowledge. And you only need to be right in business one time. And as Michael Jordan once said, I failed over and over again in my life, and that's why I succeed. So networking is like dating, Keep at it. Anything's possible. And if anybody tells you otherwise, fire them as friends. If you all cut off all your friends that are negative, you'll be much more successful. Sometimes that applies to distant relatives too. All right. All right, Bond wrote, I wish I believed you sooner. The mental taxation when you want to be a smart ass and buy low, sell high is too much. I got lucky and only lost half my money. I decided to take the loss and leave. Thank you for the lesson. I will still invest, but only DCA stocks or gold weekly or monthly from now on, although I'm in Vietnam and the investment option is quite limited. Yeah, I would thank you so much for that. I humbly recommend being longer term focused. Yeah. Okay. All right. And thank you for that comment, Manas. I appreciate it. Jiaming, how are you? Jiaming is my accelerator program. Good to see you. Which means you get access to me every single day in small group Zoom meetings, 7 hours per week, 300 hours per year. Yeah. Jiaming wrote, hey, Chris, it's always good to see you. Likewise. Which 3 fraud red flags would you derive from footnotes versus MD&A consistency checks? Whether incremental procedures you would run? Yeah. All right. So what I want you to do is this. Okay. As we talked about yesterday, I want you to go to the forensic financial statement analysis using AI. And what I want you to do is I want you to do analysis based on these 10 different footnote categories using the prompts below for the company you're analyzing. And that will help you with the answer. Yeah. But the biggest fraud I find usually is, and it's hard to detect by just reading footnotes. The biggest fraud I usually detect or usually find out about is when companies pull revenue forward. So for example, Sanjay Kumar, the former CEO of Computer Associates, the third month of every quarter for him had 35 days because he would, pull revenue forward from the next quarter in order to make the current quarter. He served time in jail for that. Yeah. And you wrote about that in your article as well on LinkedIn, I saw about 2 weeks ago. Okay, great. All right, guys, I'm going to take a quick break. Please keep typing questions. Here is a video I recorded in Southern California where I rented a bunch of Hollywood studios. I don't know how to say it, so I'm just going to say it. I'm teaching a comprehensive course on Microsoft Excel. But let me tell you, Excel is a magician's hat that pulls out solutions to problems you never thought possible. As a former beta tester wizard for Microsoft, I've created more spreadsheets than stars in the sky. Come with me on a journey that will blow your mind. We're going back to a time when accounting was done with, sand. This is 5,000 years ago when the ancient Mesopotamians ruled the world, and clay tablets were the ultimate tech. They invented writing and spreadsheets before spreadsheets even existed, with wedge-shaped writing called cuneiform pressed into clay tablets. They tracked their trades, taxes, and loans like it was nobody's business. I think I'll add new shoes to the miscellaneous expenses column. And then came the paper ledger, the smartphone of the Middle Ages. The first tech revolution that changed the game for accountants and merchants everywhere. it allowed them to record several hundred financial transactions per day, a step up from clay tablets. And just when it seemed like spreadsheets had hit their limits, a new technology emerged. Computers with raw power at your fingertips. Programs like VisiCalc and Lotus 123 allowed for thousands of calculations per day. But with great power comes great responsibility. The undo function was yet to be invented. And today, Excel can do billions of calculations per day. So next time you open up the app, remember the journey it took to get here. And who knows where we'll go from here. Join me and unlock your full potential to wield thousands of years of history like a true wizard. All right, thank you for letting me take a break. I recorded that. I rented a bunch of Hollywood studios in Bakersfield, California, including where American Sniper was made and a bunch of other movies, Clint Eastwood movies, etc. Yeah, it's fun. All right, let's see. Joey Sina, in relation to John, I'm sure you get that all the time, sorry. You wrote, how would you go about transitioning from a successful fitness professional working with high net worth clients to working as a stockbroker / financial consultant at somewhere like Fidelity? Yeah. So you already have everything you need to build something far bigger than yourself. How? Your network is your net worth. Relationships are more important than product knowledge. And you already know these wealthy people. So what you need to do is ask them, can you introduce me to your private wealth management firm? Or whoever manages your money so that I can get a job? Or can you introduce me to somebody that works at a well-known finance company so I can get a job? This works. Why? Because every time you see a job opening online, you literally have a 1 in 250 chance of getting the job. Who gets the job? It's somebody that knows somebody at the company. So ask your clients. And remember, closed mouths don't get fed. Now, before you ask your clients, what I want you to do is I want you to make a kick-ass LinkedIn profile that kind of shows that you're passionate about finance as well. And if you want, go to the link in the description of this video, set up a call with somebody on my team, and ask how we can help you with that. We can. Yeah. Okay. And then Mapco wrote, thanks, Chris. Will do. Appreciate it. God bless. God bless. I was in a wedding in Serbia recently. Actually, it was Luka Enesin, who I've done a lot of AI courses with, got married. Really good guy. The only problem is, like, I'm 6 feet tall. Every time I go to Serbia for weddings, which is a couple times, everybody's 8 million feet taller than I am. Oh my God, don't cancel me for stereotyping. I'm just kidding. I love you. All right. Hey, Ralph. Ralph wrote, hey, Chris, what part of your MBA teaches you options and technical analysis? Yeah, excellent. And Ralph, I just sent you a video message last night. I see that you joined my new platform. So let me show you, actually. Okay. And if anybody's interested in this platform I'm about to demo, just send an email to support@harounventures.com. So let me go down to you actually here and make sure you got the video. Hold on a second. Wow, a lot more people signed up than I thought. Great for networking, right? QRS. Where are you at? Okay, Ralph. Yeah. So what I did was I recorded a message for you here as well. Let me make sure that I can find it. Introduce yourself. Let's see, you got to be down here. I can't keep up. So many people are joining, man. All right. Here it is here. Yeah. So I want you to check out the video I recorded for you right here last night. It's a customized message I made directly for you. But when it comes to where to find stuff in my curriculum, meaning all of my courses here, what you're going to do is you're going to go up here, okay? And then you're going to go to Ask Chris AI. Okay. Now, questions you ask directly, I answer myself. And all the videos you see me on my platform is actually me answering questions. And I answer questions very quickly here and only on this platform. So what you're going to do is you're going to do a search here on options or on technical analysis. And give me 1 second. Let me get rid of that annoying thing at the bottom of my screen here. For those of you wondering what product I use a product called Wirecast here. Gone. Good. All right. So what you're going to do is this. What are options and where do you teach it in the curriculum? Question mark. Yeah. And then what happens is we use ChatGPT. We use OpenAI's products in order to do this. And what it's searching through is hundreds and actually millions and millions of characters of all of my SRT files, meaning my closed caption, to be able to find it for you. Yeah. So here it is right here. So right here it says options or financial instruments to give you the right yada, yada, yada. Here's where you can find it. You click here. Okay. Click here to take the complete options course. Okay. So hopefully that's helpful to you. And what was your other question? Technical analysis. Do the same search here on technical analysis if you want to. Again, the way to reach this is to go right up here. Sorry. Go up here to messages. Okay. And then you're going to go to AI agents and then ask Chris AI. Okay. Great. And if you have additional questions, please let me know. Thank you. And again, for anybody interested in joining the community, it's by invitation only. Just send an email to support@harounventures.com. And yeah, thanks. All right. And I'm going to be wrapping this up in a second, guys. Yeah. Okay. And then Manas wrote, Microsoft launched its own Nintendo Switch recently. A couple months ago, they made their own. It's kind of like the Acer product, which I have, which is pretty cool. But it runs Windows, which means it's clunky. Yeah, graphics are a bit better than the Switch. The Switch 2 even, but it's kind of clunky. Yeah. I've got the Switch 2. It's pretty good. I got it initially. All right, here I go. All right. So I got the Switch 2 initially for my kids who are a bit older now. They didn't really play it. They're like, can I download Fortnite, you know? And I got that game Donkey Kong Bonanza, which is a masterpiece. Dude, I finished the whole thing myself. It's made by the same team that made Mario Odyssey as well. And then in my MBA degree program, we do a big case study on Nintendo as well, which is a lot of fun. Yeah. And y'all know that when GTA 6 comes out, if it ever does, in May of next year, I ain't doing this webcast for a couple weeks. Okay? And a lot of people say when I retire, I'm going to play golf. For me, I'm never going to retire, but if I did, I play video games. Why not? Yeah. I love video games. Yeah. And in my garage, actually, I've got this massive golf net for my kids. It's huge, and they can play 500 courses. Yeah. You're supposed to keep your elbows straight, right? Yeah. It's hard in this jacket. Turn your hips. Yeah. All right. And then Ralph asks, what part do you teach sales and marketing? Yeah. So what you can do also on our new platform is you can do a search like I showed you a minute ago, or what you can do is just go right here to sales, marketing, communications, and watch this. Or do a customized search. There's time. Yeah. And also, since you're a member, what you can do is this: click on events, and then today in about 15 minutes, I'll do a 1-hour Zoom call, and you can ask me questions in person as well if you want, as well on Zoomy if you want. Yeah. Fun. All right. Oh my God, the Aquahood Michael, right? From Wales. I haven't seen you in a couple years, and I remember you, man. I remember because you grew up with Sacha Baron Cohen, and you told me a story. I got a good memory for my students. I love my students. You told me that when you were like 5 or 6 years old, Sacha Cohen in Wales, where you grew up, was so generous that he gave all of his toys away to all of his friends. And then Sacha Cohen's mom knocked on your door and asked for his toys back. And that's a measure of a successful person, is very giving. Sacha Cohen is, yeah. And this book here by Adam Grant, let me summarize it in a second, so you don't have to read it. But the most successful people in the world are givers, right? Like a lot of people are selfish, avaricious, jerk billionaires, right? But some are nice. A lot are nice, actually. But the one trait they all have in common, the top 1% of people in the world by net worth, they're givers, right? In all industries, actually. They want to help people. And for me, humbly, a lot of my humble success has come from helping people. You know, giving you'll receive, it's prophetic. It's been true since the beginning of time. Welcome back. Great to see you, buddy. Okay. All right, next up, Batuhan wrote, do you think the Trump family will go under investigation for insider trading after his presidential period? I have no idea. I don't know. Yeah. Okay, and then Joey Cena, who I asked related to John Cena, you said, no relation, LOL, but I don't mind the reference. Very cool. And then you said, thanks, Chris. I purchased your YouTube course a while back, and it's very helpful. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I taught that with Sasha Stevenson, a friend of mine as well. I think she's got over 1 million subs. And she's Canadian. She actually moved back to Canada recently as well, from Indonesia, I believe. Yeah, good buddy of mine. Yeah. And I remember I taught that course. That's an oldie, right? Years ago. I have a more updated version on my website, my platform, not on other platforms. But when I taught that course, I think I had like 14,000 YouTube subs, so I'm like 8 to 10 times higher, something like that now. We've had about 50 million views in the past 12 months on the channel, close to that. Okay, and again, the next video I'm going to publish, I published a review of Suits a couple of days ago, actually. You can get access to it on my YouTube channel where I teach you business lessons based on this. I think this dude is Canadian like me represents. And the next one I'm working on editing right now, which is so fun, is Succession, which is a masterpiece. Yeah, and so this vlog will drop in a couple of days. And the dude that made this, he originally was writing a script for a movie about the Murdoch family. And anyway, you'll learn a lot if you want to watch this. And the video I'm dropping in a couple days on this will teach about M&A based on the first episode. Yeah. Okay, and I will wrap this up in a second. Merck wrote, hey, Chris, nice to see you likewise. I was in your MBA first class in 2019 December. I'm not sure if my messages are going through today. I saw your email and I flagged it, and I promise you I'll answer it today. Yeah. Okay. And let me make sure I saw it. I think I flagged it. Give me a second. I'm fully transparent, as you guys know. Let me go to my email here, and I'm going to go to Start, and let me go down here. I've got so many messages. Yeah. Here it is. This is you here. MP, right? Okay, so you want to continue. You can't log in. Yeah, I'll send you a free login, of course. I've got it flagged from 9 hours ago. I will respond. Yeah. Cool. Transparency builds trust, they say. All right, next up, Vinny wrote, Chris, have you seen Industry? I have. It's kind of like Billions, but it's based on an investment bank based in the United Kingdom, in England. I might do reviews on that as well. I've had a lot of demand for that. Would you rather I do more Billions episodes or start doing Industry? Let me know. I've done the first 2.5 seasons, I think, of Billions. Yeah, and if there's any other TV shows or movies you guys all want me to review and teach about, let me know. That's how Canadians rightly say about. Americans, it's not about. It's also process, not process. Yeah. Sorry. Sort of. Okay, Matt. Hey, Matt. Matt wrote, hey, Chris, late question. I've noticed many roles are hiring for AI trainers across various fields in finance. Do you think this is being implemented to build tools for advisors, analysts, or to replace them? Both. Yeah. So in the L&D sector, meaning learning development sector, I got a lot of heads of L&D reaching out to me to teach them how to use AI. And so I presented to all Dell employees on how to use AI to be more productive. I also presented to all Workday employees on the same thing. And I presented to all Marvell, ticker MRVL, employees on how to give a great presentation, how to use AI, etc. There is voracious demand for it. Yeah. Try to disrupt yourself before the marketplace does. Yeah. And don't be fearful of it. Don't fear technology. Use it as a competitive weapon. When Google was first released in beta in early 1999, all these idiots out there were saying, Well, students aren't going to go to university anymore. They're not going to be thinking anymore. They're just going to use Google. Then in the fall of 2001, Wikipedia was released, and the same idiots were saying, oh my God, it's a death of our brain. We're going to be using Wikipedia to research everything. And the same Luddites are saying the same damn thing right now when it comes to AI. We always adapt. We always do. Don't fear it, and don't listen to the frickin' marketplace or the biased media when it comes to this sort of thing. Things are never as bad as you think. You know, if you go back 100, 200 years, 96% of the population was agrarian based. They worked in agriculture. Then machines were created. Oh no, what are we going to do? We adapt. In the 1980s, Japanese robotic-based auto building processes were created by companies like Fanuc. Oh no, robots are going to take all our jobs. They won't. Don't listen to the media. Things are better than you think. Yeah. All right. And then Vinny answered my question. Both are good, but I really like Billions, the first few seasons only. Yeah. So I've done the first 2.5 seasons. I stopped. I might do more. We'll see. We'll see. I've done a ton of movies. And for those that are interested in learning more about finance and business by watching movies and TV shows, y'all can go to my YouTube channel. You're all here, obviously. And then right here, I've done finance movies here. I did Margin Call, Money Never Sleeps, Too Big to Fail, all that stuff. Oh, good. This one's picking up too, views-wise. And then I've done the first couple seasons of Billions. And then I did, let's see here. I just did Suits. Not doing as well as I thought. Yeah. So the next one I'm going to release is going to be Succession in a couple of days. I hope you guys enjoy it. But let me know what you want me to react to. Yeah, you'll see here that my more recent ones haven't really done as well. Like I did one on credit default swaps, 18,000 views. But what my team does actually is we do every single day. He just published this one here. We do reaction videos here, and the reason why my channel is kind of humbly taken off views wise is because of shorts in the past year. We got a bunch that have over a million views and stuff. Yeah, which is fun. Yeah. All right. Cool. All right. And Merck wrote, I'm so grateful, Chris, as always. You had a life-changing impact. I'm in awe. Thank you. God bless you. I appreciate it. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap up this call. For those of you that are in my premium products, I will see you in 7 minutes on my weekly Zoom call. If you want to get access to my new product, which is very competitively priced, we have a special on now. I think it's 500 and something to get every single one of my courses, join my network, get Zooms with me, etc. If you're interested in this product here, which is also available on Android and iOS, if you're interested, what you can do is just email me at support@harounventures.com, and I'll send you more details. Yeah, or I'll have someone in my staff send you more details. So what I'm going to do, like I always do, God bless you all, is I'm going to end this weekly call with a video that is going to change your life that I licensed. It's an interview with Steve Jobs that I licensed from the Silicon Valley historical situation. Nobody is smarter than you. God bless you all. Put your thoughts in God and understand that everything is going to be all right. And if you have a crisis in your life, I want you to see that crisis as an opportunity. And I'm here to help you make that career change if you want, etc. God bless you all. Thank you.
When you grow up, you tend to get told that the world is the way it is, and your life is just to live your life inside the world, try not to bash into the walls too much, try to have a nice family life, have fun, save a little money. But life, that's a very limited life. Life can be much broader once you discover one simple fact, and that is everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you. And you can change it. You can influence it. You can build your own things that other people can use. And the minute that you understand that you can poke life and actually something will, if you push in, something will pop out the other side, that you can change it, you can mold it. That's maybe the most important thing, is to shake off this erroneous notion that life is is there and you're just going to live in it, versus embrace it, change it, improve it, make your mark upon it. I think that's very important. And however you learn that, once you learn it, you'll want to change life and make it better, because it's kind of messed up in a lot of ways. Once you learn that, you'll never be the same again.